A North Carolina law that would require women seeking an abortion to have a mandatory ultrasound of the fetus performed and then described to them by their doctor has been ruled unconstitutional because it forces doctors to voice the state's message discouraging the abortion procedures, according to a ruling by a United States appeals court. Lo and behold, big government interfering with private citizens' relationships with their doctors. And it was supported, of course, Lewis, by supposed small government conservatives. And it turns out they supported something that was such intrusive government that a court has struck it down.
Also based on their religious doctrines, right?
Put
So
that
not
aside,
only-
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
We can put that aside temporarily, but if we want to bring that in, yes, it's also an injection of religion into the law.
Yeah, so they'll trample the Constitution and lie to you saying they want small government, but they don't.
This may not hold because other appeals courts have upheld similar requirements. But, you know, we talk so much about free speech being violated when Dr. Laura offends people with the N-word and her for-profit employer doesn't want to renew her contract. Free speech is violated when, who knows, Brendan Eich, the Mozilla CEO, ends up resigning because it turns out he made an anti-gay donation that was unpalatable to his constituents. Those are not violations of free speech. But when the government dictates what doctors should say to their patients, regardless of what their medical training tells them they should be doing, that is a violation of free speech. And that is exactly what the court held. We have so many real examples of free speech violations, but they're typically the opposite of what the right wing likes to point to.
Do you think there's any way that that this will go to the Supreme Court?
I don't know. If we see increasingly conflicting decisions made on these types of laws at different appeals courts, then ultimately it might get to the Supreme Court. Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that happens here because there are all sorts of movements like this and bills like this all over the place. And I think we both know what the Supreme Court would rule on this one.
What do you think they would say?
I would think they would strike it down. I don't think that this would fly.
I am not as sure as you are that the Supreme Court would strike laws like these down. And maybe someday we will find out. That would be very, very interesting.